everyone. Welcome back to season 2 of More Than Before. I'm Nathan Cook. I'm your host. If you didn't know, now you know. And if you haven't listened to season 1, can I encourage you, go back, listen to season 1. It's a great season with some really value-packed episodes with some great people who have great stories of becoming more of who they were created to be. You know, you might be wondering, Nathan, why all of a sudden are we just listening to you and not to a guest that you have on? Well, and here's the reason. I was talking with some friends. I was talking with the guests that were on after the show. And as I was talking to them, they said, Nathan, why aren't you teaching? Why aren't you talking more? People want to know who you are. This podcast is built around you. And I started to think about that. I challenged myself of why am I not saying yes to this? Why am I not doing this? And well, I didn't have a really good answer. I was nervous. I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be in the limelight, I guess you could say. It was easier to pass the baton and the focus on other people. And so this season, you're going to hear a lot more about me. You're going to hear a lot more about my growth journey, where I've been and what I'm doing and what I'm learning right now. And I want to be able to pour into you. That is this specific segment of the More Than Before show. We're still going to have some really great guests. I have great guests that are lined up here in the upcoming future, and I'm really excited to have them on. But in this time, these short little teachings, I want to add as much value to you as I can. And it's going to be based off of reflections that I've had recently. It's going to be based off of what I'm going through right now in my everyday life. In fact, maybe you don't know this. There's another podcast, the More Than Before Marriage podcast. That's the one I do with my wife. If you're not subscribed, by the way, you should go and subscribe. It's a great podcast. If you want to hear the other side of my stories, it's a great place to go to maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say hear the truth, but I still tell the truth. You just hear maybe a little bit of a different side of the conversation. But it really is a great podcast to go. And one of the things you'll find is that if you go over there, you're going to listen to some really great stories that Willow and I are both experiencing together. But one of the things that I want to do with this is I want to dive deeper with you. I want to get you into my mind of how I'm thinking, of how I'm approaching life, how I'm approaching being a father, a parent, a spouse, how I'm approaching leadership and communication and community, and how do I add value to people and leadership. And there's so many different topics that I love and that I'm passionate about. And I want to share those with you. I want to add value to you today. And so today we are going to be jumping into a topic that I think is absolutely fantastic. And it's about opportunity. What opportunities do you have before you today that you're saying no to? Now, that might seem odd. What do you say no to? Well, first of all, you have to understand the awareness piece is, what are you saying no to that you should be saying yes to right now? This past week, I was in my kitchen. I was cooking for my family. I normally cook breakfast in the morning. We go through eggs like crazy. Costco, we go through like 5 18-pack Costco egg things every single week, which is crazy. But we like eggs. We all eat eggs. And so there I am cooking eggs on the stove, and my son comes in and he's got this little green frog. Now, I don't know if you remember these frogs. They were from like Halloween. They're like super cheap. And you put them on the table and you push their rear end down and they jump across the table. Well, my son brought one of these home from school and he walked in the kitchen. He said, Dad, I want to show you my frog and how high it can jump. And immediately I said, oh, no, not right now, bud. I'm making breakfast. Go in the other room. And I had just been reading just that morning about opportunity, about the idea that we don't say yes enough, that maybe our initial response is no. And we miss out on opportunities in our life because we're not saying yes. We're so eagerly saying no that we don't even know what we're saying yes or what we're saying no to. And it was like a gut punch to me. It was in a split second. It was just no. And then a couple moments later, I realized what I said, and I said, hey, bud, come back here. Let me see your frog. And I grabbed his frog. I put it on the counter. I pushed the little butt down, and it jumped across the counter. Can I tell you, his eyes lit up. He was so excited that his dad paused in the middle of doing something to see him and to do something with and for him. It was an opportunity that was presented to me, but I'm so used to saying no. Maybe you can relate to this as a parent. No, we're not going to play with that. No, we're not going to do that. Maybe we'll do that later. I'm so used to doing that at this point in where I am that I've been starting to say no to opportunities in my life. And so as I was reflecting, I started to think, well, what opportunities have I been saying no to that I should be saying yes to? And so today I want to give you a couple points of how you can determine whether or not you should say yes to something. That's our teaching. These are the points. I want you to be able to walk away and say, okay, here's my opportunity. Should I say yes to it? Boom, 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 boom. These are the filters I want you to go through. Number one, does it align with your priority buckets? Now, if you're not familiar with the priority buckets, John Maxwell has the 3 R's. What is your greatest return? What is your greatest reward? What is your greatest requirement in your life? I like requirement, I like return, and I like rejuvenation, because I don't know, it's really clear to me what rejuvenates me. You know, what are the things in your life that you're required to do? Is this yes thing something you're required to do? What's your greatest return? Your gifts, your talents. Is this thing that you're saying no to, could you get a great return on this? Finally, what's your rejuvenation like? Is this going to rejuvenate? Is this going to fill your bucket up so you can keep going? If it ticks one of those 3 buckets, then maybe you should say yes to it. Another thing that you should consider too is, does it align with your values? Now, we don't have enough time to go through what values are specifically, but if you want to learn more about values, shoot me a message. Respond in the podcast, in the comment section, say, learn more about values. If we get enough people that want to learn more about values, of how I've discovered my values and how I live by those values, write in the comment section, discover values. And if you do that, then in a future episode, I'm going to talk about how do you find your values? How do you live by your values? What happens when you live by them and when you don't? And so one of the things you have to ask, first of all, is it in one of your priority buckets? 2, does it align with your values? If it aligns with your values, you should definitely do it, because when you do things that align with your value, you receive benefits. There are great benefits to doing things that are in alignment with your values, your core values. If it's out of alignment with your core values, there's going to be some kind of consequence that hits you. It's not going to feel good later on down the road. There's not going to be a good return. So what are your values? You know, going back to the story with my son, family is one of my values. And so when I think about family gets up there. And if it's something about relationships are a value to me. And so I want to make sure that I'm creating a good relationship with my kids. So what are your priorities? Does it align? What are the values that you have? Is in alignment with your values? The third thing, does it take you closer to where you want to go in life? Does the opportunity, does this thing that came up that you can say yes or no to, if you say yes, will it take you closer to where you want to be, or will it take you further away? Within the last couple of weeks, I got a call from a good friend of mine. He said, hey, I've got this opportunity. It's a new training system. It's going to be fantastic. It's about culture. And I took a step back and I thought, man, my plate is really busy. I've got a lot going on right now. I don't know if I can juggle one more thing in my life. And I went back and I prayed about it. I thought about it. It aligns with my values. It aligns with my priorities of what I should be doing. And so as I thought about this, as I reflected this, my end game of where I want to be closer to and doing and serving and adding value, does this take me closer to that? And the answer was yes. So after praying, consulting, thinking about it, I messaged the person and I said, hey, I'm ready. Let's go. Full bore. Sign me up. So now I have this new opportunity that I'm working towards. Is it a lot of extra stuff? Yes, it is. But it's moving me closer in the direction of where I want to be, where I want to end up. So does this opportunity, first of all, does it fill one of your priority buckets? Does it bring you closer to where you want to be? Does it align with your values? And lastly, does it add value to you and other people? It's really important to do things that not only value yourself, but add value to others. I recall recently hearing someone say that your gifts are like fruit on a tree. And the fruit, if you've noticed this, an apple tree does not eat apples. An orange tree does not eat oranges. It produces fruit for those that are passing by. Now, that's not to say that there aren't benefits to producing the fruit for the tree, but there are definitely benefits for people that are passing by the tree. And so in our lives, in the opportunities that we have to ask the question, does this add value to me? And does this add value to others? And if it doesn't check those two boxes, then maybe you need to consider whether or not this is the right yes. But if it does, it just might very well be the yes that you need to say. You see, we're all surrounded by opportunities. The question is should you pursue those opportunities? Or maybe you've said yes to opportunities that were great in the moment, that you've been fulfilling, that you've been doing for a long time, and maybe it's time to step back. Maybe it's time to reprioritize the opportunities that you've had, and maybe it's time to cut some things out. You know, for me, in order to move forward with this new venture, I needed to create more time, more space in my schedule. Now, I can't cut more time out with my family. I can't cut more time out of my business. So where do I start cutting time out? And for me, there's a volunteering piece that I've been doing for the past over a year plus. And I love it. It fulfills me, but it's not within my giftings. It's not where I receive maximum output from Nathan. And so I prayed about it. I went back to the person who had invited me to volunteer, and I said, hey, I need to step back. I have some other things that I need to focus on that are going to not only add value to me, but add value to other people. Right now, you have opportunities in front of you. What category are you in? Are you the person that's saying yes to everything? Or are you the person that's saying no to everything? I have a feeling that most likely, if you're anything like me, you're probably saying no to a lot of things because you probably have a lot of things on your plate. But can I tell you right now that you can create margin in your life? You can create space for the things that matter, for the things that tick these 4 boxes. Do they align with your values? Does it fill one of those priority boxes? What is required? What is your return? What is your rejuvenator? Does it move you closer to where you want to be as a father, as a parent, as a business owner, as a mentor, as a leader? Does saying yes to the opportunity in front of you, does that take you closer to where you want to be, or does it take you further? And last, does it add value to you and others? I know that this episode added value to you. If you would you take a moment and would you share this with a friend, with someone who really needs to hear this? Because I can tell you this, there's a lot of people in your network, there's a lot of people in your world that need to hear what I just spoke. And I don't say that to gloat because I'm some special, amazing person. I say this because I know that I'm going through it, and I know that other people are going through the same exact thing. There's opportunities that we could all take, but we just need to be able to slow down, check the boxes, and make sure that we know what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to. I really do appreciate you jumping on, spending a little bit of time with me. It was a short teaching, get you back to your day. So until next time, remember to be more, see more, and experience more than before. And we'll see you next time on the podcast.